A recent study shows that 530 people that came to Las Vegas contracted C19. That's a bad study, but it doesn't take into account a bunch of different things that we're going to look at right now. The question of this video is whether or not casinos in Las Vegas are so-called super spreaders and if they are causing this to go way out of control. Now, I've had this theory that Las Vegas might be the last place on the entire planet where this lives, just based on our nature of having large gatherings of people. The governor's in a really hard spot here. He can't exactly shut everything down again. He knows that the industry would die, and Las Vegas and Nevada, for that matter, would probably become a ghost town and a ghost state. But what are the real stats and the real facts and the real figures about whether or not people coming here and the 530 people coming here are actually getting it here? That's a little bit more subjective. That comes up to a little bit more of a challenging look. We're going to take a look at a few things. We're going to look at some references for what different organizations like the CDC, and got my notes here, what the CDC and WebMD and the American College of Cardiology say is the incubation period. I'm going to talk about that too. I know it's another C19 video, but the thing is, if you're coming here, you have to be informed as to what your chances are to come out of here healthy and safe, as long as you wear your face masks and all that good stuff. And by the way, my name is Steven. I'm not leaving Las Vegas. I'm a Vegas blogger. You guys can like, share, subscribe, and you tell me, what do you think? Do you think this is just the stats and we don't have enough information, or do you think that this is something that you should be wary of? And I'll tell you this, not everybody is fit for coming to a city like Las Vegas, or for that matter, a place like Disney or anywhere else where there's a bunch of people gathering right now, and you will make your decisions based on what is right for you. I'm not here to tell you what to do. So I want you guys to go ahead, and if you guys want to do, like, share, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for the notifications, leave us that comment based on that topic or any other comment for that matter. If you guys want to reach out and support further, we have Patreon and also YouTube memberships, lots of different perks and stuff. You guys can go there and check those out. That's a good thing if you guys want to do that. If you can't do that, we have vegasfacemask.com. This actually matches my motif today. I got the Vegas cards going on. I love it. 2 for $25. The wife makes them, sends them out, and I appreciate you there. Also, we have the Facebook group, Not Leaving Las Vegas. That's totally free to do. Only have one rule, 2 rules: no advertising. We don't want to be in billboards all over the place, and also no politics over there. Ooh, sexy, no politics. All right, so it came to my attention, you know, casino.org. It's a big site that talks about all facets of the gaming industry, not just Las Vegas. They posted up that 530 people visited Las Vegas and contracted C19 virus. Of those, only 347 were contact traced. They are purporting that these people actually got the illness while they were here. And I understand it's completely possible, and it's plausible too. I go down to the Strip on the weekends and I live stream from there, and I see tons and tons of people all over the place. People are critical of whether or not folks are wearing masks. There is hand sanitizer everywhere. All of the MGM properties have literal bathroom sinks inside of them with different hand washing stations. So we are trying right now, it looks at this point, even if it's a little bit late, to have the casinos participate in making sure everybody's compliant with all the health and safety standards. That's actually largely due to the governor, who started imposing massive fees and penalties on people. So let's give credit to the governor for enforcing things, and let's get credit to the casinos for doing their jobs. However, people are considerably worried about getting sick while they're here. So 530 people, it turns out, got sick between June to August, I believe the study showed. 530, they say they got sick while they were here. But I have a few questions about that, and the questions are whether or not the casinos are going to be super spreaders. So what is a super spreader? Like, seriously, what is this term we're talking about? Well, a super spreader is like an area or a city where somebody comes in, or a person where somebody comes in and they basically, it just spreads it all over the place. And if you don't know already, I'm sure you do, this is very, this is a disease that's very, very communicable. It goes from person to person very, very quickly. The common flu, the common cold, different ailments that you get, not as easy to get infected by. Most people's immune systems have some kind of built-up immunity towards them. This is not the case with the C19, and it's the C19. If somebody just sneezes and you touch it and then you scratch your face, then, you know, oh, I got an itchy eye, or, you know, I got something near here. Yeah, you could actually get it quite easily. It's just the way it functions. We're not going to go into the biological functions of it. That's way above my pay grade on this video. So a super spreader is a place where you go and there's just a ton of germs everywhere. I mean, a super spreader can be a restaurant that's not sanitized properly in your local hometown. It doesn't have to be a tourist town where there's, you know, a million people coming in at any one given time. So if it's a super spreader situation, we better watch out. Maybe Las Vegas becomes the last place ever to get this kind of thing. But maybe this is the last stand for it here on Earth, and maybe even after vaccines are launched, this is a place that still has problems with this. It's not going away anytime soon, let's get that right. I mean, we're going to be wearing face masks for a long time, and I don't think any of us are ever going to forget to wash our hands before we leave the restroom. Are you one of those people? Did you not wash your hands? I know you exist out there because I use restrooms and I've seen you. Please wash your hands when you leave the restroom. But I have a bit of an issue with this. So I looked up a few different things. So we have to talk about, number one, the incubation period. The incubation period of the C19. So that's the time between it lands on you, it gets into your body, and you actually start to show symptoms. So what's the incubation period for C19? Well, I looked up a few different resources because you can't just look at one when you're researching things. I looked up the American College of Cardiology. Seems like a pretty good organization. They know about all sorts of things, health. They said it's 5 days. I then looked up the CDC. Now, you probably look at me and say, what? You're quoting the CDC, Centers for Disease Control? And I'll say, yeah, in this case I am, because this seems to be a black and white thing. It seems to be pretty obvious that there's some stats and they've been changing things around lately. CDC says 4 to 5 days, 4 to 5 days. I also looked up WebMD, you know, the oldest site on the internet in terms of health data, and, you know, the one site you go to when you have a cough and then you're convinced that you have something, or you have a pain in your joint and you're considered, you're like freaking out. That's what happens with people like me. But I went to the CDC, WebMD, and they said 5 days. So it seems the general consensus, 4 to 5 days. Well, then I went and I looked up on a site called Statista. Statista, they take different information points from different places and they present it in ways that normal folks like me can actually look at, where I don't need to have a degree in studying statistics. And they actually charted out every single year between 2009 to 2019. And over 10 years of data, the shortest amount of time spent was right around 2012 with 3.2 days. That was average stay. And the longest average stay in Las Vegas was 3.6 days. So either one of two things is happening right now. Either people are staying in Vegas for 5, 6, 7 days, because remember, going back to the whole start of this is supposedly the amount of time that people are actually they're getting it while they're here. They're getting it while they're in Las Vegas. That's the argument. Or people aren't taking into account that the average stay is actually short in Las Vegas. Somebody's getting it on an airplane possibly coming here, which I guess would technically still make it a super spreader type situation because the airline is now responsible. But then we have information on airlines that say that you have like a 1 in 4,400 chance of getting it, and if they're on a flight 2 hours or less, and if the center seat is removed on the plane, it's now 1 in 7,700 chance, and so that seems unlikely. So what is really at play here? I don't know. Is it really that people are getting this thing in Las Vegas? Are people actually coming to Vegas, getting tremendously sick, going back home and spreading it everywhere? Or is there a possibility that people were already sick coming to Las Vegas? They were sick before they came here and their symptoms had onset while they were here. Again, a 4 to 5 day period, 4 to 5, not 45. A 4 to 5 day period for when you actually start to feel these symptoms. So if that would be the case, then we could never really come back to the idea that people are coming to Las Vegas getting sick en masse. But then there is the deal with contact tracing. So of those 530 patients that were actually said they got exposed and got sick while here, they claim that there's 347 people that actually got contact traced to pinpointing it down in Las Vegas. I don't know if I believe those stats because I would have to see how they contact traced everybody. But one thing's for sure, there's millions of people that are coming to Las Vegas every single month. You would see patterns emerge, especially in large urban centers like Phoenix, Arizona, and Los Angeles, California, Southern California, San Diego, which is where the vast majority of all of our people are coming from into town right now because most people don't want to fly. International travel is done. There's no business people coming in, so we get a lot of drive-ins. So if we don't have people going back home and having health districts in these areas say this person said they traveled to Las Vegas, they're now sick. And if we don't see an overall pattern and trend on all that, I'm not sure how certain we can be on these numbers saying that people came to Las Vegas, they got sick while they were here. That's the end all of it. And speaking of which, how can we be a super spreader situation if over the course of months, when millions of people came in, we had 530 people total say that they actually got this thing while they were here? Maybe the stats are bad. Maybe they didn't collect enough data. Maybe it's more like 5,000 or 50,000. We really won't know because the governments of the world are not really all that great at presenting data to us. So I'm curious what you think about this. I'm doing this video as a public service announcement of sorts. Not saying I'm right. I'm not saying I'm wrong. I'm just saying that right now, the information isn't there. We don't know what it is. So should you travel to Las Vegas? That's the actual main question that you have to ask yourself. And I'm not here to tell you that you should or you should not travel to Las Vegas. I am here to tell you that if you're in a situation, and as I've said before, if you go back home to a person that's on immunosuppressant drugs for some reason, people who have rheumatoid arthritis, especially in men, are on those. People that you know that might have something that's an autoimmune disease are on these kinds of things. Or you go back home and you work in a nursing home. Please don't come to Las Vegas. If you go back home and you have certain specific individuals that you see on a regular basis, maybe you're a caregiver for mom or dad and they're older in a high-risk group, you shouldn't really come here. If you come here, just make sure you wash your hands, use the hand sanitizer, wear your mask, and if you guys are going to come to Las Vegas, try to have as much fun as you possibly can. You know, it's a beautiful weather right now. We're getting into where it's not 110 degrees every single day. September is generally a great month to come. We usually have things like SEMA and different shows happening in the fall, but that's not happening. So you're going to have the run of the town. So that's the video for today. I'm interested to know what you think in the comments below. Again, if you guys want to reach out and support the channel, you guys can do that. If you really need to get me a message about face masks, please do it on Instagram or Twitter. I don't have hardly any DMs there, and I will be able to see it a lot easier. And I want to thank you guys for everything. If you guys want to support Patreon, YouTube channel memberships, we do cool stuff like exclusive live streams once a month on both platforms there. I just posted this really funky video of my cats. I don't know, we got him some kind of catnip treat, and I've never seen him act that way, not even on catnip before, so it's actually an interesting video. Anyways, that's what that is, vegasfacemask.com, no S on the end. The only two you'll ever need, and guess what? Keep smiling out there. This thing's gonna go away eventually. It's not gonna be here forever. It's just an inevitability. Things have happened like this in the past. Things will happen like this in the future. Hopefully we're more prepared going forward. Like, share, subscribe. This is the time of the video where I say 3, 2, 1, click. Are you ready for this? 3, 2, 1, and click.